But one big difference is the pressure on us last season in League One. We were expected to win every single game. So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue, and I think it's clear to see that there's a very big difference between playing in League One and playing in the Championship. And as Birmingham City supporters, we know the Championship quite well, having spent so long in it before we got relegated to League One. But now we're back, and in this podcast, myself and Matt are going to look at some of the lessons that we've learnt already from the first 6 games and how it differs really from League One and how Birmingham City are facing those challenges. So, clear difference, Matt, isn't there, between what we've seen in League One compared to now? So what's your thoughts on this?
I mean, the really obvious one is just the quality is way higher, isn't it? The fitness levels, the speed.
Players.
The players, yeah. And just the way teams set up and go at you, the press. You know, a lot of games are won by moments of individual quality in the Championship, aren't they? It's a lot more technical. But the biggest thing for me, and I know I'm probably stealing your thunder, Dad, it's probably high on your list as well, is how fine the margins are, how unpredictable the league is. You know, anyone can beat anyone. It's arguably why the Championship is the best league in the world. You know, even this weekend, Dad, game week 6 at the time of recording, we saw Sheffield Wednesday beat Portsmouth away. We saw Wrexham beat Norwich at Carrow Road. We saw Hull beat Southampton. So there was a lot of games where we didn't quite expect the results that came in. And I think fine margins, moments of quality, and just, the higher energy, higher quality that the Championship provides is definitely, it's more comforting as Blues fans, but it's having this season in League One, it's reminded me of how much the not much splits the teams at this level, does it?
There's very little difference, and this is, like you mentioned, fine margins there. That's very clear that a game can hinge on a mistake or a bad refereeing decision or a bad missed chance or something like that. But the quality and depth of the squad here. I mean, you look at some of the benches in this league that we're playing.
Look at our bench.
Yeah, exactly. Including us. Yeah, we're in that now as well.
Yeah.
But I think that's why, teams like ourselves and Wrexham and Charlton had to invest in the squad quite heavily in terms of personnel, not necessarily financially, during the summer transfer window because of that gap, And if you were to just take the teams that were in League One, those 3 teams, and plonk them into the Championship, I think we would probably, in that example, we would have probably been the better of the 3 teams because we were building for the Championship when we was in League One. But the other 2, they got up from League One and they've realised that they've had to have a big turnaround of players and strengthen because of the difference. Because in this league, if you haven't got the quality of players to match the opposition, you are literally going to get, you could get absolutely destroyed in this league.
100%, Dad. And just to give a couple examples of individual brilliance in games we've witnessed, look at Fatu at Leicester away.
Yeah.
Early in the game, just took a moment of brilliance to get them 1-0 up, and it really disrupted the flow of the game, and they kind of saw it out from there, didn't they? Look at Manhoof at Stoke away. Little moments of brilliance in there that sort of really helped Stoke on the front foot as well. So, as you say, even we've witnessed it this season so far. But when we look at Blues, we look at Blackburn away.
Yeah.
And some of the games we've won, we've showed individual moments of brilliance. Demarai Gray stepped up. Stansfield's having a good start to the season. We've got Dykes, that last minute there against Swansea, a moment of brilliance that just captured it again.
What you said there is interesting. Let me just sort of expand on that a little bit. What you've mentioned there is a bit of diversity in the squad. You've mentioned a bit of experience, a bit of skill, and I think that's what you get in the Championship. You get these seasoned Championship players that know the Championship intimately. And they're the reliable, solid players that you sort of build a team around. Then you get the really skillful players, and then you get the younger talent and the brilliance of that. And that is all the way through the Championship. What you find in League One, or my experience of League One, you do get some standout players in teams, but actually the vast majority of teams are relying on hard work.
Yeah.
And team ethic rather than skill and tactics to win games, and that gets you a long way. But at this level, it won't take you that step further.
The way I've described it, the way I've always looked at it, is the Championship is a far more technical league, and League One's a far more physical league. And another point that comes to mind, that is the low block and the time wasting. In League One, how many teams came to St.Andrews and just parked the bus? And to be fair, actually, on that point, I've been surprised how many teams have been defensive at St.Andrews, including Ipswich on the opening night,
Yeah.
So teams are still coming to St.Andrews and being relatively defensive, but it's worlds away apart from the low block in League One. It was painful. It was quite literally 11 men in their own half, and it was like, come and break us down, that's all it was. So, again, at least we're not getting that level that we got in League One last season. And by the way, let's just call this what it is. This isn't a dig at League One, is it? It's not, hey, we look at where we are now to where we were. It's just observations in difference and the step up in quality.
We're in a good position to do that because we experience League One, and a lot of fans from other clubs in the Championship won't probably understand what we're talking about because they haven't experienced League One, but we have recently. And so every point you're making is a valid point in the difference between the two levels.
Another big one for me, Dad, and I want to get it in now because you've kind of touched on it with the squad depth, is I feel like the subs have better value in the Championship as well. Often when teams make substitutions, they do impact games. They actually make a difference, whereas in League One, again, no disrespect, like it was just a lump going on for a lump, and as in just like a battering ram.
You see them announce the subs in the Championship, and you're thinking, oh gosh, no, he's coming on. You recognise the players. In League One, most of the time, who's that? I've never heard of them. I'm not saying they're not good players, but they're just better, well-known players. It
was often a battering ram for a battering ram, though. Like the players were a lot more physical down there, And again, when teams were behind, they'd bring on more physical players and just pack the box and just hoof it. That was the style down there.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's a lot more technical. I think another one as well. So I feel like I'm rattling off and firing at you, but is tempo. The speed in this division's a lot quicker, and we alluded to it at the start, Dad. Teams are faster, they shift the ball quicker because they're more technical. They can get the ball under their control quicker, release. There's just that quicker element to the Championship.
Yeah.
And you do have more physical teams. Look at Stoke at the moment. They're very good. I mean, they have good technical players like Manhuth and Sorba Thomas and stuff, but generally they're quite a physical team, I would say. Mark Robbins has got them set up well. No problem with that. And they're a good team and they're doing it well. But I feel the distribution, the first touches, the one touches, the pass and go, the tempo in which teams do that in the Championship's a lot quicker than what they would do it in League One.
But that's why teams come tactically to slow the game down, because if you've got a team with fast tempo, they're going to kick the ball out, they're going to go down for free kicks and fake injuries, and it is faking a lot of the time.
Head injuries.
It is faking a lot of the times. They'll just go down and slow the game down, disrupt, and that is. Again, just emphasising your point about tempo, because nobody wants to play against a team that's in the ascendancy and coming at you fast. So what do? Go down, make a foul or something like that. It shows you that. But we've touched on this already, Matt. But the big thing for me is the margin of error in this league. You can make a mistake and it can cost you desperately in this league. Whereas you can get away with a little bit more in League One. Sometimes you get punished in League One, but a lot of the time you'll get away with it because teams don't punish you. This league, you've got a play. You could lose the ball, a bad tackle. The players are like lightning coming at you and stuff like that. So and I think that's the difference between a team that's going to do well and a team that might not do so well, is if you can get those little things right, i.e., you are physical, you're competitive, you're not making stupid mistakes, you're good at set pieces, and we need to improve on that in our club, don't we, Birmingham City? That is the things I think that could make the difference, and that will get you a lot of points that you could potentially lose if you do start to make those mistakes. But you do get punished in this league, a little lapse of concentration.
Yeah, I think the good teams as well, Dad, they transition quick at this level. So, a classic example is Leicester at home under Rooney. They scored off the back of one of our corners. It was
hit the post.
The speed they broke it. And again, Dad, we can put this in the Blues area as well. Look at us at Blackburn away. The speed we broke at against Blackburn, but because we have better quality players now, we can do that. But I think the good teams in the Championship as well, when they break, it's like all hell breaks loose. All the teams just fire up the pitch. They're quick. They move it quickly, and they'll punish you very fast as well. Just playing into your point about tempo and speed, and the good teams have that in the camera. They can just transition really quick as well. And you can see it happening sometimes, can't you? And you think to yourself, oh no, if they break here, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because especially with Chris Davies now, we play quite a high line in terms of we're quite aggressive in their side of the pitch, holding on to the ball. All it takes is one lapse in concentration for the other team to quickly get it and break down the other side of the pitch. But it's that speed.
Yeah, it's
lightning.
It is a much quicker league. Another difference as well is the financial stakes as well. The player wages, obviously. So teams with parachute payments and big budgets can get the better players. Obviously, I mean that's just life. I get that, but in this league as well, the parachute payment teams. Now we're actually in a season where I think there's the fewest parachute payment teams for a long time.
Yeah,
because obviously Luton went down again, so they will have their parachute payments in League One.
Yeah,
and then a couple of teams went back up, didn't they? So Burnley went back up, as did
Leeds.
And Leeds would have had parachute payments, would they?
I think they were in there last year.
Okay,
maybe.
Yeah. Okay, and who else went up? There was Leeds,
Sunderland.
and Sunderland as well. Sunderland wouldn't have had parachute payments, but so there's less teams.
But you've got teams like Sheffield United who have now been down for a couple of seasons. Well, this is their second season, and obviously, what's the parachute payments? Is it 3 to 5 years or 5 years?
No, it's 3 years. I think.
3 years.
So
they're running out of their parachute payments as well.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other teams who have came down. They haven't quite bounced back up, and now they're in their last couple of years of parachute payments. This is why this season, the Championship, in my opinion, is arguably
wide open.
Wide open.
It is wide open. And what Tom Wagner said many times is that, because of our commercial income and our revenue, we can compete with these parachute payment teams now. But it does make a difference because you have got the fun. Even with that, though, even with parachute payments and financial ability, you are still restricted by the financial rules, PSR, whatever it's called now in this league. So even then, even though you have money to spend, you might not be able to spend it because you obviously will. I think that's why we've done good business in the summer.
Yeah.
We haven't spent an absolute fortune, and our net spend is actually quite low. I think it was about 3.5 or 4 million net spend compared to what we paid out compared to what we got in.
Some of the players that we brought in, though, won't be on cheap wages.
No, the wages, of course, will be. But then what they tend to do, like Stano, is they put him on a long contract, haven't they? So that the value of him is diminishing quite slowly because of the length of his contract.
Exactly,
so you can get around it in certain ways.
Chelsea do that all the time, get really long contracts in. So it's a bend around the rules, isn't it, a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, one thing I've got here, but I'm just wondering, I've got a point about the tactical difference in terms of the way managers set their teams up. But when you look at virtually with 6 games in now, and I think every team has set themselves up exactly the same. Same as us, isn't
4-2-3-1.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't think of any of the teams we've played that haven't played that system just yet. And I think that's quite common across the Championship. But I think the difference is that tactically there's more science behind the. There's a lot of a lot goes into how teams are set up and how they analyse and research the opposition, so that when teams come to play each other, there's a definite understanding of what and tactics need to be done. I don't think there's quite that level in League One.
Yeah.
But a lot of teams have adopted our type of ours. It's not ours, but the system that we use, 4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1, Dad. They play that in the Premier League all the way down to League Two now. It's just a really popular system to play. It's like the system. It's like playing out from the back now. They do it all through the league systems. It's that.
It's very rare, though. I mean, you're saying the 6 games that we've seen, that you've seen a manager actually. You look at the shape of a team and think that's So basically, say a team is losing. Very rarely in the Championship you'll look at it and say, oh, actually, he's changed the system here. They seem to stick with what they've got, but just change the players to try and make things different or improve based upon that as well.
It's because it's diverse, isn't it? Because in defence, if you think about it, if your wingers track back a little bit, you kind of naturally nestle into a 4-4-2.
Yeah.
And then when you transition on the attack, you can push quite a few, and you can almost effectively get 3 at the back, and then pack your midfield or you up front. It depends on what you want to do, but 4-2-3-1 gives you quite a lot of versatility depending on where you are on the pitch and what you do. And are you transitioning into attack?
Yeah.
Are you moving forward? Are you defending? It's a very versatile formation.
And every team at every level plays from the back now as well. I can you remember the last team that we played that hoofed it? We did have a few last season actually. I can't remember who it was. Was it? Oh, that's a bit refreshing. But I suppose the issue is the minute you kick the ball into the air, it's 50-50. Whereas you keep it, as long as you don't get. Your press gets broken, you're going to keep possession of the ball. So it is a sensible system if you're good at it. Because you see how many teams get caught out. Every week you see goals where someone's been closed down.
Every weekend there's a couple of goals where they've accidentally passed it. I mean, we got caught out last season a couple of times.
Northampton.
At Northampton.
Yeah, I remember that.
Bailey Peacock foul at Leyton Orient.
There
was a couple. Bailey Peacock foul against Peterborough.
There's no Blackpool fans watching this.
Sorry, that was mean. But it is that thing. You can get caught out from the back. That's the trade-off.
Yeah, it is. But teams still play the same system as well. We mentioned the quality of players, but also the squad depth as well. So not just quality players, but the squad depth. Yeah. So therefore, that even though like us now, I'm quite impressed with what we've done in the last transfer window. We've really strengthened our squad in all positions, so that if we do get injuries now, we have got quality players to come in, and that's very true across the Championship. Whereas in League One, it was less so, wasn't it? I remember particularly when we played Mansfield away. I mean, we drew 1-1, but I know that they had a lot of injuries at the time. And I remember Nigel Clough saying something post-match about how he hadn't got the players he wanted to be in those positions. He had to play people out of position and stuff like that. Right. That happens occasionally in Championship.
God, that makes that result even more embarrassing, doesn't
it? Yeah. Fair play to them for that. But it shows you the squad depth is. So basically, you've got play. That's why you get unhappy players, because those that don't get in the team want to play football, but actually there's quality players in front of them. But the good teams, the teams that are successful, will have a good depth of squad.
Yeah. Well, look at us, Dad. Tommy Doyle, Mark Leonard,
Can't get the side.
Lyndon Dykes. You've got Cashin, who's come on loan. You've got quite a few players there that Beadle isn't getting first team football because of Allsop and stuff. So even at Blues, Dad, we're seeing such a high quality. Patrick Roberts and Kumas are going to end up having a battle for one of the positions.
Laird and Bright, Samuel.
Yeah.
You've got Clara, our backline, Clara, Robinson, Neumann,
Fujimoto as well in attack. So
if
you think about it, we've just got quality now all the way through the squad, and it makes such a difference because. There's nothing worse, is there? Remember the Eustace days and, even prior before that, you'd be turning up and you'd be looking at our bench going, I hope no one gets injured because we had no depth. We were very reliant on the loans that we got in that summer, weren't we?
Yeah.
They kind of carried us.
Injuries were a major problem and suspensions. So if a player got a suspension, you think, well, who's going to play there now?
Definitely.
I mean, that has changed because we've actually got the right problem. We've got who can play in that position? In terms of who's the best person. So we have got, but we need that. You need that depth of squad to cope with the long season, the winter, the grueling schedule that the Championship gives us.
And another thing I'd say that, which is a big thing, and we've kind of alluded to it in our general chat, really, is the fitness levels. Because in League One, we were noticing about 70 minutes, 75 minutes, they were absolutely breathing through their bum, weren't they? They were absolutely flagging, whereas we just kept demolishing them through and going through, and then that's when we would get a lot of goals in that sort of last little bit of the game.
Wear teams down.
Whereas now, again, coming back to your thing about quality coming off from the bench, fitness levels being higher, teams are going toe to toe, 90 plus 6, 90 plus 7, aren't they now? It's not even comparable, the fitness levels those two areas. So
I think as well in the Championship as well, Matt. I think there's so much at stake because the carrot is the Premier League, the promised land, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if you got out of the Championship, as we found out, it's a completely different division, League One. It's a tough division to get out of, and we did get out first time. Thankfully, that's because we had owners that were prepared to invest heavily in our squad. But you can get stuck in League One. We've seen that big teams have got stuck in League One: Ipswich,
Leeds,
Southampton,
Leeds,
Sheffield Wednesday,
Sunderland.
Leeds, Sunderland. They've all Portsmouth. The big teams have got stuck. Coventry. They've had a few.
Sheffield United, and you mentioned
them. So the competition is so hot because of the rewards, and also getting relegated as well. That's why anybody like a team that's low down, we see it particularly towards the back end of the season where teams that almost look like doomed to relegation are being they're beating like playoff contenders and automatic promotion contenders as well. And that's a massive difference as well. And that sort of explains a lot of it's a little edge, isn't it? It's a competitive edge that you get for trying to either stay in the division or get promoted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to discuss, Dad, because it's quite a bit more of a light-hearted one. But I thought of getting promoted, we were going to get. I don't know what was in my brain. I thought we were maybe getting like Champions League level of refereeing. I don't know, but actually. The one thing I haven't noticed much difference in is the quality of refereeing. It hasn't actually improved as much as I thought it would do back in the Championship. It's been poor, hasn't it?
It's not great. League One. It's hard to understand some.
But if you look at some of the ones we've had this season, Dad, Swansea even comes to mind from last week.
Yeah.
Awful. And by the way, this isn't just a poor referee for Birmingham Blues here. This is poor referee. It's just an overall poor officiating linesman. Or third official, sorry, what are they called now? The
assistant referee.
Assistant referee, sorry. Across the board, it's just been poor.
Yeah, it is, and hopefully that'll improve. They also have a league table for referees, haven't they? So they get relegated if they get so. But anyway, that's another story. Yeah. Also, as well, what's nice as well, which I think is a massive difference, is we get much bigger allocations in our away end. For us to go away, but because in League One, we couldn't get tickets for a couple of games because they only had like 1,000 or 1,200. And we went to and rightly so, went to the Platinum Plus and the Platinum people. We're only Gold members, but that makes a difference as well because we, as Gold, there's only a couple of grounds that we probably
Wrexham and Oxford.
Wrexham and Oxford, we probably won't get tickets for this season because Wrexham sold out.
Yeah, exactly.
But so that's good as well. And also as well, I think I don't know if there's much difference in the away end at home. So actually, when I look at the away fans, all the League One teams pretty much filled it, apart from the likes of Burton. I think they were the smaller teams didn't.
There was a couple of teams that didn't fill it.
Most of them did though. Yeah. But I suppose to those teams, coming to St.Andrews was like a big ground for them to come to compared to what they used to go into.
Also, it's no disrespect. They just have smaller fan bases, don't they? some clubs in League One, they just
but that's what I'm saying. So the Championship, all the away ends are sold out, which is good. So there's a better atmosphere. What makes me laugh as well, it's a common thing as well. The common stock response for any away fan that comes to Blues, where's your atmosphere gone? Yeah. It's always like a
football in a library.
But everybody thinks that, and actually, it's not true. No. It ain't true. I mean, obviously, we're in the tilt, and it's always buzzing in there. And
I guess though, when you're in the away end, you kind of are in your own little bubble, aren't you?
Yeah.
And obviously, you can't hear the rest of them.
But it always makes me laugh that away fans think that the loudest that they've ever been in St.Andrews. Every single lot of them, every single lot. Just look, I'm sure like we do when we go away, to be honest. But that makes me laugh a little bit. But I
tell you what, though, Dad, the away fans can never deny that keep right on just before kick-off. There's no way they don't hear that.
Oh, they're going to admit to that. No, they're away fans.
But that is incredible.
Yeah. Away fans are obviously going to support their own team, as you'd expect, and they're not going to really. I mean, some people compliment us, but we don't need to be complimented.
No, who cares?
We'll make our own. We'll sing our own.
I quite enjoy listening to the away fans in terms of getting you can hear the good fan bases and the poor fan bases, and I guess maybe hypocritical here because we've just said that they're making it up or whatever it might be, but like some fans are great, aren't they? Like they come, they bring the noise. Like Sunderland come to mind, Middlesbrough come to mind. Man United, when we're in the Premier League days, come to mind. There's been a couple of experiences down St Andrews.
Sheffield Wednesday was good as well. And Portsmouth as well. I remember them from years back.
Proper clubs, Millwall are always decent. There's some proper footballing clubs out there that really bring a good fan base and travel well. I think Blues are one of them.
Middlesbrough,
I said them.
Sorry, did you?
We travel well. We travel with good numbers, and we do bring noise. But at St Andrews, it's good to see the away fans sometimes.
That's brilliant.
And the banter's great.
That's the deal. And I'll tell you one big difference. And I'm just on the basis of time. We'll probably finish this in a sec. But one big difference is the pressure on us last season in League One. We were expected to win every single game, and we did. Let's be honest, apart from a few. But
we only lost 3.
Well, we did. But the players, it must have been horrible, like for them, thinking that because every team raised their game against us as well, we had some very close games as well against teams that we were expected to beat, and it's because they all raised their game, so that was tough as well. In this league, it's a little bit more forgiving in relation to that. It doesn't make the games any easier. But when we'll look at some fixtures, like next game after this recording, we're away to Coventry. So, if we were to lose that game or draw that game, then we think, it's Coventry away.
Yeah.
Whereas when you go to like League One teams, why have we lost to them? They're a tiny little team or whatever, or stuff like that to some of them, or big teams that have got good fan bases. There's quite a few big teams in League One as well.
Charlton, Bolton,
Wigan. Huddersfield,
yeah.
There's quite a few. But that's something that's different in the Championship as well. The expectation to win is not as high because of the level of the opposition that we're playing against.
And it doesn't feel, sometimes we walked away from the away games last season, as if we've just lost that. Well, I say that, it was only Shrewsbury, Charlton and Bolton. But
Shrewsbury was the worst for me.
It was only 3 games that we ever walked away from. But like even a draw sometimes, whereas again, if you lose at the King Power or the CBS or some of the bigger grounds, it's like, well, we kind of were expected to anyway. Yeah. It's not as bad a feeling. And as you just said,
in the Championship, you are going to lose games.
We had all the pressure on us last year. Stansfield signed for the biggest League One record, and I get it. Everyone loved to hate us, but you're right. It's nice knowing we're not we're expected to win every game. It sort of takes the pressure off a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and I think it's a better place to be in, to be honest. But well, I mean, as you can see, there's quite a few differences between League One and Championship, and obviously, I think it's hard to say that Birmingham City have learnt this, because this is just going back to what we actually are really, really familiar with. But it's nice to be reminded. I actually, now looking back, I didn't like getting relegated. Of course, no one wanted to go to League One, but while we were there, I enjoyed the experience of being there, and it's made us appreciate the Championship, I think, a little bit more now that we've come back, and hopefully we won't be in the Championship very long, and we can get maybe back into the Premier League at some point.
I thought you were going to say we go back down. I was thinking, what are you talking about?
No, I don't think that'll happen. But at some point, I'd like to think that we can be challenging.
I think so.
To get ourselves back in that Premier League, maybe however long that takes, maybe a couple of seasons or whatever. But it's just nice to be back in the Championship.
Well, the ambition's there from the owners. They're not messing around. So if we're not pushing in the next couple of seasons, they're going to start asking questions.
No, I think we'll have some very interesting transfer windows in the summer. I don't think the January transfer windows will be spectacular, because they never are. We'll just be filling gaps and looking for what we need. And I think which is another conversation. But I think in this January we'll see a few players moved on in terms of loans and possibly sales, because we've got a big squad.
So
that's it. So that's what we think, Birmingham City supporters. fantastic being back in the Championship. Already enjoyed the first 6 games, made a decent start, but we can all go back and think about the experience we had in League One. I think appreciate the Championship a little bit more. So hopefully, Chris Davies, as a new Championship manager, is learning as he goes along, and he'll get the boys fired up, learn the lessons as we go along, and get ourselves being as competitive as possible. So that's what we think. Love to know what you think. As always, let's have a comment. Let us know what your thoughts on Blues and the way that they've started the season, what your feel the differences are between this season and last season. Add a comment below. Me, myself, and Matt are always happy to read them and to respond to them. If you did like this podcast, as always, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on our social media channels already, then pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And if you like to watch or listen to your podcast on Spotify, you'll also find us on there as well. And you'll see the handles appearing on the screen now for all of these channels. If you haven't subscribed already and you'd like to, then hit that big red subscribe button. And if you'd like notifications every time we put a podcast out, hit that bell icon next to the subscribe button. So that's it for this one. Hope you've enjoyed it. And myself and Matt will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.